Okay, great. Well, now we're going to be switching gears here, which might be a little bit hard to do because that was a lot of fun. But this is actually also a lot of fun because now we're talking about creation in your businesses and in your careers and scaling it to a much bigger level than just your one shop with the sign on the door, we're open, we're closed. Okay, how do we take our shop or our online shop or whatever you're doing and scale it, okay, and make your business grow? And this is something I'm personally really interested in. And so I would like to bring on our next panel, which I'm so excited about. We have the CEO of Blushington, Natasha Cornstein. We have Tiffany Gaines, who's the CEO of SS Global Entertainment and the COO of Amada Records. And April Tomlin, she's tuning in from Nashville, and she is the founder of April Tomlin Interiors. So here we go. Hi, guys.
Hi.
I'm so happy you're both here.
Thank you for happy to be here.
Thank you. April, your sound is working, right?
I think so, yes.
It is good. Okay, you never know. I ask these things live sometimes because we just go with it, right?
Right, that's exactly right. I ended up in my very messy guest room because my daughter has the stomach bug.
Oh no.
I'm trying to hide.
Especially as an interior designer, I think your guest room is quite beautiful. So
nothing
to worry about.
I would agree with that.
Okay, great. So Natasha is also joining us from Manhattan. And so thank you both for, again, coming on to this, all the different time zones and so on. So both of you have really successful businesses. Natasha, yours is mainly virtual now. April, yours is based in Nashville. And we're just going to jump right into this to hear how you were able to grow your businesses. So I'll direct this to Natasha, and then April, you can answer as well. So what have you found are the key ways to get yourself in front of more potential clients?
So I think that's sort of the holy grail question, which is how do you build awareness and gain a following? And I think I would probably take maybe one step prior to that, Megan, to say, before you go out to seek your audience and grow your audience, is to know what it is that you offer to them. What problem are you solving? What joy are you providing? And are you doing it better than everyone else, on par, or the best that it can be? And I think those are really crucial ingredients. Not that they stay consistent because you're always evolving as a business, but I think getting that identity piece right and is really crucial as you go out. I can tell you, as a company that has been very scrappy for a very long time, and I imagine you have folks across all timelines of their business right now, but we've always had very limited resources to get the word out. If I were to pick one of the most effective ways that's worked for Blushington over the years, is partnerships. So whether that's partnering with a brand, or whether that's partnering with a not-for-profit organization, or partnering with schools, whatever it may be, there are so many different ways to find these partnerships that are mutually beneficial, that can be very cost effective, but really help you to broaden your reach. So that's really been our number one tool at Blushington.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. You know, that's actually one of the great things about doing these events is we meet so many different CEOs and speakers and so on. So we had a modern day box that went with this event that you could get. And the CEO, the co-founder of Wander Beauty, had spoken at our last event. So we were like, do you want to be in the box? She was like, of course. So now everyone gets to experience her under eye anti-aging patches, whatever.
She's amazing. The Wander team is amazing.
Yes, she's also quite beautiful. But
great.
Yeah, but that was really, I really like that answer, and definitely we're seeing a lot of collaborations on Instagram, so that's true. So April, do you want to add to that as well? What has it been like for you?
So we are just launching our product line in August. So we're not really promoting a product just yet. We're essentially promoting our work, which is different in lots of different ways. So when I started this business 11 years ago, much like you heard before, I did not have the means. And so we really grew our audience very slowly and very organically. And because it's a creative, a work of art, in essence, it's a little different. I get asked all the time how to capture an audience. And for us, we kind of took a different approach than partnerships. It was almost like the opposite. So a lot of our clients are celebrities or whatever. And everyone was like, do a deal with them, do something with them, where you follow everyone and, that sort of thing. And we never did that. Mainly because I was so determined to grow it organically and so determined to have people on the page, our Instagram page in particular, that just wanted to be there, and they were very invested in what we were creating and what we were doing. And so for us, that approach has not just led to big numbers, but when we do something and we announce something, we have a huge response, and whoever is watching that response, they're always so shocked because it doesn't, add up to, we have over 100,000 followers. I can't remember how many, but we get reactions as if we had 1 million followers. And it's because all the followers are very engaged. So for the work that we do, we took an organic approach. And another thing that I'll add is that it took me a long time to get here. But at first, 11 years ago, I would try to be creatively all things to all people. And now we are who we are. We design how we design. And we choose the work that we love and that we think will be representative of who we are. And I think that just being true to yourself and what you're comfortable with and what you feel that you're good at is the most important key to not only growing an audience, but just having work that you're proud of and just being successful overall.
Absolutely. It's interesting you said that, because in the event industry, a lot of people will say, oh, just, you give lots of complimentary tickets and so on, but those people really, they don't necessarily see the value, right? But if people actually commit to something and they get a ticket for an event, they're more likely to show up. They're more likely to participate. So it's similar to what you said on the Instagram. It's the same thing that we see too, right? Those of the people who are part of our membership are the people who are the most engaged and want to go to your page and see what's happening. They are willing to go into your link in bio and see what's the latest things that are happening. So it's kind of like one of the things that I've learned in life is whenever I try to skimp something, I have to end up, this doesn't sound right grammatically, but I have to end up doing it again, right? So sometimes I think if you just spend the time and you do it thoroughly, it's worth it because you actually earned it. You put the time into it, right?
Sure. Yes, exactly. Now, when we launch this product line, I might be doing a bunch of partnerships, so don't hear me incorrectly.
Well, I'm excited for this line actually. So, but moving on to the next question. Okay, so I'll direct this to Natasha. How do you find your avatar or your ideal client? How did you find that out, or have you?
So I think I would have given you a very different answer pre-COVID than I would post-COVID, because the business we built for 10 years pre-COVID no longer exists today. So I was in the business of brick and mortar. It was a service-oriented business where our core business was doing makeup applications. So we didn't even have the luxury of standing behind our guests. We're called what's a forward-facing service. So when COVID hit, I would tell you we were serving a multi-generational clientele. We were in New York, LA, and Dallas. And what made our customer very special, and I think, April, you made a very good point, you cannot be all things to all people. You have to know what you're great at, what you're passionate about. And I don't want to underestimate for everyone that's listening here today It's not necessarily about who has the most degrees or X, Y, and Z experience, not to get off track, but don't underestimate as you're building your team passion and how crucial that is to building a successful organization.
Yeah.
But to come back to the question, pre-COVID, our client was this very multi-generational. Either mom was bringing in her daughter, the teens were bringing in their moms. And post-COVID,
Yeah.
Woohoo! Sorry.
Post-COVID, we had to make some really major adjustments. We went from being an in real life, in-person service to closing March 13th, 2020 and reopening April 17th as a 100% virtual business in this format, doing makeup classes, makeup parties. And our clientele, I guess the most beautiful thing to come out of this shift was we broke out of those four walls and all of the geographic boundaries. And we now have customers from all over the world. So that has been one of the beautiful shifts.
And it's interesting too, because eventually when you can travel again, now you have a reason to leave the US, right? And see all these people and set up events elsewhere. So it's interesting how things kind of go in cycles too.
Yes, you know? And your audience, Megan, can also change, because while we'll continue with our consumer business, we took our 10 years of training makeup artists, that was one of our core competencies, and built an academy for artist advancement, where we're training beauty professionals across the country to advance and accelerate their careers and their earning potential. So you may start again with one audience or think that is the ideal customer, but now we're really a business with two audiences. One is consumer and the other are beauty professionals. So taking again this great experience, but now applying it to two very different segments of clients. So don't think that you have to be pigeonholed to just one ideal customer.
Yeah. You know, I understand that, and this isn't exactly the same thing what you're saying, but it's sort of similar. Sometimes you think you have a certain ideal customer, and then the people who start buying, then you survey or you just start looking into it, you find out it's actually somebody else. And so you kind of have to go with it a little bit, because if that's what's working, you have to continue pushing what's successful, right? So that's one of the things.
Yes, it's this real dynamic tension between being true to yourself and your brand, but being flexible. And that is, I find this dynamic tension that I always have in mind. Who are we? What is our purpose? And then also having flexibility within that, because nothing stands still.
Exactly. And also your audience ages. So sometimes,
God willing, yes.
Right. So like, you know, and it's similar, again, not to go into a whole other thing. And I can be a little chatty, right? I'm from Long Island. I know, you know, the people from Long Island, but what I'll say is that I'm the co-founder of Modern Day Wife, and I'm married with a baby. And my co-founder, who's also named Megan, who was on before, she's engaged. So we're actually both representative of our brand, and we're both going through different stages. So it's interesting because we're kind of encapsulating that journey together. So anyways, moving on to the next question. We'll get to April here. This is going to be a different question. How do you get your clients' attention and communicate with them? What are the main things that you do to communicate with your clients?
So our clients, like our actual clients that hire us to design their homes, you know, is probably different than, you know, having a client that is buying a product. So for our clients, I'll address a couple different clients. So our clients who are hiring April Tomlin Interiors, it's so interesting because when we're in the first initial interview stage, it's very different than what people would think. You would think that they were interviewing us, but we are very, very much interviewing them. And so I have key things that I'm looking for every time because, well, we're on a huge waiting list, but before there was a waiting list, before we were popular designers, before all of this, I do feel that I've always been okay and comfortable. Let me rephrase that. I haven't always been okay and comfortable, but very quickly I became comfortable with not being a good fit with somebody. Just knowing, like, I don't understand what you're saying. What you're asking for is, I don't particularly feel that I can do that for you, or just a very demanding personality that I feel is going to suck all of the time and take away from maybe the next person. So even when we didn't have all the calls and all the waiting lists, and we didn't really have the right to be selective, we were selective. And then increasingly over the years, we've become more selective so that the experience is good, so that my employees are happy. One bad client can take out a whole team. And so, and I'm usually not the person left dealing with them. Honestly, I'm designing and doing things like this. And
you don't always want to say it to the owner, right? Like in front of you, sometimes people can have a certain personality, and then to the assistant.
So I watch very closely. I always have my team in and around those first couple of meetings, and I can pick up on things. If people don't acknowledge the help, then we're out. I can't have my team be mistreated. And then there's the audience. We have the client that pays us the money. Then we have the audience that is now become the buyer of Marked, which is we are now doing like one artistic build a year, and we've created a waiting list for that as well. And, just the highest bidder will win that house. And then the product line, which I can't say what the name is, but that audience that we've developed is different. I feel that audience is they're here, or they're watching because I've taken a path, right? Like, I am very strong in my faith. I wasn't always that way, but I am today. And that doesn't mean that, I talk about it all the time, but I took a path, and I developed a following from just who I am. Motherhood. I don't post about my kids a ton, even though they draw a lot of attention. They draw a ton of attention because they're two toddler, beautiful little girls. So they really are. But I don't post about them. I think it's weird. I think that, there's predators out there, and I don't want them watching my babies. And so I don't take advantage of the kids, and I don't travel for design. I travel to Florida because we have a house there, and I'm here, and I've drawn the line in the sand. So Blackberry Farms and all these incredible places that I get asked to go, I don't go. And so I've tried to just be a good person, honestly. And I feel that audience is there to see the design, and then they very much connected with me as a human being. And I was just listening the other day to somebody, and they said, if you stand in the middle of the road, you get hit from both sides. And so at some point I chose not to stand in the middle of the road. And I had a bunch of people advise me not to do that. Don't do that. Don't do that about religion. And I did it, and it worked. And so
it's interesting you say this, and I just want to comment on two things. The first thing is on the clients and being more selective. When you do get the negative people off your plate, or off your out of your space for the company, things open up and the flows start going. So it is something we do too. Like if a person ends up not wanting to do something with us, sometimes we're like, we're not going to try to reconvince them, because it's probably not supposed to be the right match. So it's something about that. And then the second thing I'll say, and then I'm going to ask Tiffany a question, is there is something too about what you're saying about not letting, there's a waiting list, or not everyone can be a client, because it does make it's people want it more, right? Because it's not as accessible. So this won't work for everyone, obviously, but there is that like exclusivity, like what Clubhouse is doing. You have to be invited. There is this thing about making it high end, and you want to reach for it, and then people will pay for it. So there's a lot of truth in what you're saying. Some of it will be workable, some of it won't for people. But there's a lot of important things that you said there. And I'm going to move to Tiffany now, because we have her on the screen. So Tiffany, thank you so much for being here. Here's what I'd like to know from you, okay? And I'm gonna pick a question that I think will be perfect for you. So how did you take the leap from opening your business, right? You work with entertainment, in the entertainment field and so on. So how did you take the leap from opening your business to actually now hiring people and having an actual viable business? How did you take that leap? What did you do?
Okay, first, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Everything is good. Okay, thank you. Because there's a little bit of a lag, Megan. I can't see you, so I'm doing this blind. I can see the others, but not you for some reason.
All right, you know what? Don't worry. It's probably better you don't see me.
Oh, no.
Okay, go on.
But I will tell you, for me, and it may not be the same for everybody, okay, but referrals is what I did initially. I focused on affiliate programs, and I built my platform based on the idea of sharing success together, and I would pay through referral fees. So I don't know if it's different in you can get up to $15,000. So I did some of the research, and I said, you know what, I'm going to start creating some sort of contests or weekly goals, and we all won together. So what we did, that helped with obviously overhead, right? So what we did was, once we started beginning to grow and started profiting, then that was when I knew, okay, it's time to take it to that next level. I wish I could clone myself 20 times. You know, and all of even my assistant, I have 2 assistants who are phenomenal, but without them, I know that I would not be where I am today. And also my talent scouts, my A&R reps, and eventually I had to take that leap of faith and say, okay, we're making enough through the referral programs, through and introducing the idea of not having to pay. And once that happened, it's just been great from there. I don't think I'm the typical normal,
That's okay. I did have a question about something. Yeah. Well, I think that it's good that you talked about all of this, because we're hearing from Natasha, April, you like really different methods of growing your company, right? So you talked about an affiliate program. You talked about I forgot the second thing, but the affiliate program was the one that really stuck out to me. You know, that is something that we're seeing a lot of. So obviously there comes the point of saturation in the market, and how many affiliate programs can people be emailed and so on. So it is, I think, always finding the next innovative thing, like trying to see into the future, which of course we wish we could all do, and figuring out what will be the next way to, like, what was the, like, giveaways or affiliate programs or all these various things you see on Instagram, they start to get saturated. So it's trying to be able to predict into the future, what can we do, what can we create that's going to get people's attention. So I just wanted to add to that. So we'll go back to Natasha now.
Sure.
Okay, great. So how did you know your business would be successful in the beginning? How did you know? What did you
I think you have to have a lot of faith. And I think faith means different things to each one of us. I think that unless you are in an incredibly unusual situation, there are no guarantees for anyone. So I think it's faith. I think it is commitment, and coming back to what I spoke about, passion. None of us go into this knowing that it's going to be a home run. And for anyone that thinks, oh, it's so glamorous, and well, look at the brand, and what happens behind the scene. And one of my favorite memes on Instagram, or my son taught me the word meme, whatever it is, it's a picture on Instagram where it goes up and down and around. That is the reality. No one's life or business goes like this or like this. So I think it's having faith in yourself, in your concept, and how you're serving other people. And that is, coming back to the last question to a degree also, as you build your team, no one builds a business or a brand by themselves. And taking that leap of faith and expanding your team is one of the toughest things you do as an entrepreneur, as an owner of a business. However, if you try to go it alone, or you think you know best, or you're sitting there dictating what will make the business successful, I think that'll be your fastest way to be out of business. So again, finding people that align with your values, that are passionate, that are smarter than you, that will challenge you. And I can say that now, knocking on the door of 50. When I was in my 20s and 30s, early 30s, I didn't have that sensibility or that knowledge. It was my idea. I wanted to be first, fastest, get it done. Why doesn't everyone understand? And go. And the hugest learning for me, and I hope, and I share these mistakes because I hope everyone on the phone knows that in leadership at the pinnacle of your company, you still make mistakes all the time. But I will say that, it's crucial to listen, to surround yourself with people that share. And I tie this back to your question of did you know you would be successful? You will be successful when you surround yourselves, and maybe it's one person at first, but when you surround yourself with people that it doesn't feel like a job, or speaking to them doesn't feel like work. You are in it together, having the ride of your life. And if you're not having that experience with someone on your team, you're doing them a favor and your company a favor to say goodbye. And that's also something I've learned and wanted to share today. Don't hang on to a relationship where it's not serving your business or the person is unhappy, because like April said, one bad customer can take out a team. Someone unhappy or not sharing the vision on a team can take you backwards. So that, whether it's a client or team, having that shared passion and energy is, I think, a major ingredients to success.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more on all of that. We have an amazing team at Modern Day Wife, so we would not have been able to do anything that we did if that didn't happen. So it looks like our time is up because Wendy just came on the screen. Hi, Wendy. And I could talk to you ladies forever. And April, I have to tell you, we're going to plan something in Nashville at some point in person when things change. So we will be in touch. And Natasha, Manhattan, I'm going to have to shoot. I don't even know what the line is anymore because I haven't gone hit you up or whatever people say.
Would absolutely love that. And for anyone on the phone or that attended today, super available and happy to answer questions or listen to what you're doing in your business and just be a sounding board. And it was a pleasure to meet you, April. Congratulations.
You too. Thank you. You too.
Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.